Hello everybody, welcome to Totally Tabled. My name is Shaggy, and today I'm running down my top 10 most anticipated solo expansions for 2026. This is a follow-up to my recent top 10 most anticipated solo board games for 2026 video. Go check that out if you haven't. Now I'll admit, I'm generally not a huge fan of expansions, because I generally don't play a single game often enough to need or want more content. There are exceptions, of course. Some expansions improve a game by adding something critical that was missing in the base game. Some expansions add more of the same, thus adding variety without adding complexity. And some expansions offer exciting new alternative ways of playing that spice up the base game. All these flavors of expansions are represented in my top 10. I've also made full solo playthroughs of nearly all the base games for my selections. I'll leave links to those videos in the description below. Number 10 is Galactic Cruise Achievements. Achievements is a pseudo-legacy style expansion where players compete to accomplish certain goals or missions, which will unlock a new box of expansion content for all players. The achieving player gets to write their name in the box lid to memorialize the fact that they were the one to unlock that box. I think there's going to be like 12 or more boxes that will be in the expansion. The content inside these expansion boxes varies. I won't describe it in detail in order to avoid spoilers. You can check out the Kickstarter page for all the details. By the way, Achievements was crowdfunded in October of last year, and it shows an estimated delivery for October of this year, but that can change, of course. The achievement boxes will contain new agenda cards, special cockpit and engine tiles, and new expert workers, all of which can be added in any combination. Certificate boxes that are harder to unlock will contain new ways to play the game, asymmetric characters, and challenges. Personally, I'd prefer to have an expansion with different modules rather than unlocking mystery boxes, but I think for most people, they're excited by these legacy-style elements, much more so than I am. And I suppose at the end of the day, you could just open all the boxes and ignore the achievement aspect altogether. Number 9 is Mini Rogue the Council and Mini Rogue Mountain of Torments. The Council, which was crowdfunded all the way back in April of 2024, is a standalone expansion for Mini Rogue. So you can play it without the base game, or you can mix them together for more variety. The Mountain of Torments is a regular expansion that can be added to either the base game or the Council. It contains new rooms, a new character, the Condemned, and a new final boss, the Champion's Remains. There are also delving cards and torments that increase the difficulty. Ultimately, this expansion sounds like more of the same, which is something I think Mini Rogue actually needs. I hope these expansions help lift this quick, entertaining dungeon crawl to the next level. Number 8 is Darwin's Journey, Oceania. Oceania, which was crowdfunded in February of last year, features a new island map with 16 unique specimens. The main board has been updated with new locations, including the post office, university, village campsites, silver and golden villages, and map lens locations. The player boards have also been reimagined. I'm unsure exactly what all that means, but it strikes me as feeling very similar to the original Darwin's Journey. There is a new mechanism that sounds like it's pretty different, the hazard track. According to the publisher description, hazards increase the difficulty of exploration and discovery and can trigger end-of-round penalties. But the player with the highest hazard level receives a one-time bonus, creating a risk versus reward dynamic. It all sounds interesting, but also entirely optional, and specifically geared towards hardcore Darwin's Journey fans. Number 7 is Slay the Spire Downfall. This first expansion to Slay the Spire is based on a free expansion to the video game made by the modding community. In the video game, you take the role of one of the villain characters, protecting the Spire from the Slayers. You actually travel down the Spire's levels rather than up them. I assume the board game will work in a similar way. Based on the publisher's description, You take on the role of Slime Boss, Guardian, Hexaghost, and Hermit, and face off against new bosses. I think this sounds like a fun twist. And the base game is so good, I'm happy to just have more stuff. I still have a bunch left to discover in the base game, so I don't think I'll be needing this expansion for a while, and that's probably a good thing because the Kickstarter still says it's launching soon, so this one might not make it out this year. Who knows? Number 6 is Endeavor Deep Sea Uncharted Waters. Uncharted Waters is advertised as a content expansion, meaning it contains more of the stuff that is already in the base game, rather than adding a bunch of new concepts and mechanisms that might add bloat. I think that's a great idea because one of the selling points of Endeavor Deep Sea is its lack of rules complexity. This expansion includes over 20 new ocean boards, 6 new Tier 5 specialists, new journals, new dive tokens, and 4 new scenarios, including Tectonic Split, which divides the sea in two, and Fog, which covers the surface in mist. They've also expanded the solo and co-op modes by adding a bunch more setback and bonus goal cards, which now use a challenge ranking system. As you can see here on the Kickstarter page, mode cards let you vary the difficulty of the setback and goal cards, as well as providing additional rules tweaks. The ability to fine-tune your level of challenge is always welcome, and probably should have been part of the original game. The Kickstarter for Uncharted Waters ended in June of 2025, but it appears you can still late pledge, with an estimated delivery for October of this year. Number 5 is Heat Rocky Roads and Heat Legends. First up, Rocky Roads introduces 2 new tracks, a new white car and player mat, and new upgrade cards. On the South African Grand Prix map, you must deal with gravel on the track. If at the end of your turn you're on a gravel space, you must pay 1 heat from your engine if you can. The other map is in Germany, and I'm not entirely sure what special rules apply to that map. There will also be new upgrades that let you gain extra slipstreams, as long as you end your slipstream in a slipstream position. That certainly sounds like an interesting power. And if you own the previous 2 expansions, you can race with 9 cars. In fact, the game will eventually allow up to 12 cars on the track. That's both awesome and probably too many racers. The expansion I'm really looking forward to is the Legends expansion. This adds legend cards for the expansion cars, but also smarter, faster, and tougher legends. As the publisher describes, they'll slipstream, draft, clear corners with precision, and unleash powerful new abilities that keep every race unpredictable. They will also have difficulty settings so you can make the race as hard as you want. I thought the base game system was great, but this sounds like it might improve the solo game, as long as controlling the bot doesn't become too complex. Number 4 is Mage Knight, the Apocalypse Dragon. It has been a decade since the last major expansion to Mage Knight, which was called Shades of Tesla. I admit I haven't played it or even read about it before now. Apparently that expansion added a new Mage Knight, the Storm Druid Bravelar, who seeks to bring an end to the destruction caused by the war between the avatars of the wizard Tesla. Of course. There was also a character expansion that added Krang, the Orc Chaos Shaman. This new expansion also has a new playable Mage Knight, Coral, who wants revenge on the Apocalypse cult. I've heard that there are going to be these new side quests or missions that you can engage in, and there's also going to be new enemies to fight, including a 5-headed Apocalypse dragon as seen on the cover. Apparently each head is going to have its own special abilities. All this is drawn from existing Mage Knight lore, I suppose. Most interestingly, the Apocalypse Dragon expansion will contain a story-driven campaign mode that features new scenarios. Personally, I'm not that interested in adding more campaigns into my life, but I know many solo players will be excited for this feature. I have to say, it sounds like this box is going to be chock full of stuff, so I can't wait to check it out. Number 3 is Star Trek Captain's Chair, To Boldly Go, and Second Contact. I just recently played Star Trek Captain's Chair on the channel, so, go check out that playthrough. I think it's a fantastic game, and I can't wait to explore it more. But one of the things I immediately noticed is, where are the other captains? Where is Captain Kirk? Where is Captain Janeway? Well, have no fear. In the To Boldly Go expansion, you get to play as James T. Kirk, as well as Khan, and some of the other captains from Discovery and Lower Decks. I stopped watching Star Trek after Voyager, so I'm not really familiar with a lot of these new characters. But there are 6 new captains in total, each with asymmetric decks and abilities. I've actually buried the lead here a little bit, because To Boldly Go is a standalone expansion. So you can play this as a base game without anything else, or you can combine it with the original. So you can have Kirk against Picard, or have Picard duke it out with Khan. I know I'm going to do that. The second expansion, Second Contact, is a smaller expansion that requires either the base game or To Boldly Go. It comes with 3 new captains, Captain Freeman, Captain Pike, and a third captain that I didn't see announced anywhere. But I do know that it's not Captain Janeway. From what I've read, Janeway's captain deck is going to use new mechanisms involving the Borg and holograms, so we're going to have to wait for future expansions to get the Voyager stuff. I plan on collecting everything for this game, so, count me in. Number 2 is Final Girl: The Green Terror. I can't find too much information about this new feature film release for Final Girl. I know the enemy is the Volcar, an alien killer who is hiding and hunting its prey. The final girl must discover its path and defeat it before it kills all the victims. But the victims this time are not defenseless. These are actually soldiers that the final girl can order to move around and attack. She can even train them to be more effective. So yeah, we're obviously dealing with the Predator here, which is fantastic. I'm surprised an earlier box hasn't already covered Predator. Maybe one has, I don't know. I'm not familiar with all the feature films. I will say that I love the look of the 2 final girls and the killer from the box cover. I'm getting those 90s action film vibes that I want from a Predator homage. This one is definitely going on my must-buy list. And speaking of that, the Kickstarter campaign for Final Girl Series 4 begins on February 3rd. Series 4 contains The Green Terror, along with previously announced feature films like Bad Times at Buddyland, A Rotten Harvest, and Demon in the Shadows, as well as another unannounced feature film, which will be revealed when the campaign launches. The more I play Final Girl, the more I want to play it. I hope these feature film boxes continue into the future because I'm just not getting tired of them. And number 1 is Voidfall Resurgence. Let me be fully transparent right up front. You need to know that Mindclash Games has paid me to make a sponsored video for Resurgence. Please keep that in mind and take everything I say with a grain of salt. I haven't played Resurgence yet, so I'm not recommending the expansion. I'm just saying that it's my most anticipated because of how much I love Voidfall. If you follow the channel, you know I was super early on the Voidfall bandwagon. It's become one of my favorite games in general, and easily in my top 5 solo games of all time. So of course I'm going to be excited for an expansion. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Does Voidfall really need an expansion? And the answer is, of course, no. No, it does not. The base game of Voidfall is overstuffed with content. Only the most obsessive players could need more stuff. And that is not me. I just don't play games like that. I'm still exploring the base game. But I don't think that that's a reason to be negative towards the expansion. I've recently been speaking out against a trend that I've noticed of quote-unquote essential expansions that fix or complete base games or add essential things like solo modes. It always makes me wonder whether these parts have been stripped from the base game in order to sell for an expansion later. I can safely say that is not a concern that I have about Voidfall, and that makes me happy. Okay, sorry for the rambling. Let's actually start talking about specifics. Resurgence will include a whole new solo or co-op mode that will feature a more aggressive Voidborn opponent. There will be new difficulty levels, including brutal and nightmare levels, and both players and Voidborn are getting new ship types with new powers. There's also 12 new technologies and 6 new houses. One of the biggest additions is a new concept, psionics. The description from the publisher says, you will be able to harness powerful, reusable abilities, opening up new strategies and ways to customize your house. The single-use psionic combat tokens allow you to launch psionic strikes or raise barriers, potentially changing the course of key fights, while deploying the psionic vanguards to key sectors allow you to take on greater risks for even greater rewards. In addition to Resurgence, there's going to be another expansion that I think is called The Last Novarch. There isn't too much information about it right now, as far as I know, except that it's going to add a campaign to Voidfall. As I said before, campaigns aren't exactly my favorite thing right now, but I am really curious to see how this one works. Stay tuned to this channel for more information. And there you have it. Which expansions did I miss? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, think about subscribing and joining my Patreon. I'd like to thank all the financial supporters of Totally Tabled, including the totally radical Mitch Fisher, Hextra, John Kohler, Scott Myers, and Jay Satterwhite, as well as the totally bodacious Tobias Schumacher. If you're interested in becoming a member, you can join on YouTube or my Patreon at www.patreon.com/totallytabled. You'll gain access to my new exclusive podcast, Table Talk, as well as unboxing videos and whatever extra stuff I come up with. As always, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.